Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show. We're live on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel Monday to Friday at 4 o'clock. So hopefully if you've got some spare time, you can join us, share it with your friends, hit the subscribe button, and if you hit the bell, you'll get all the notifications of all our unique video content and the stories that are breaking on our app as well. If you download that, the PLZ Soccer app has the breaking football stories, and it also has an opportunity for you to watch the show at any leisure time whatsoever that you may have. So, I've done all the PR stuff. Let's introduce the troops. Ruffy's here, Tom McManus, and of course Richard Foster with us here on this Wednesday. And I think what's going to dominate today is almost certainly Rangers over in Germany to face Leipzig, tomorrow's match in the Europa League semi-final, and all the award nominations, because it's that period in the football season where we start to concentrate on who's going to be picking up awards. Of course, it's a wee bit too early, we know that, Ruffy, but we just have to get on with what we do every year.
Yeah, we certainly do, and it's a big occasion for the players. It's great to be nominated by your fellow pros. It's always a good honour if you win it, but even to be nominated, it's fantastic. I had the pleasure of being nominated 8 times, but never won it at all.
Wow, in the players category.
In the players category.
But you did win the football writers, didn't you?
I won the football writers, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, but hey, even to get nominated is good going, Ruffy. It just shows you the level you were playing at.
Well, it's good to your guys you're coming up against, and I think you've had a good season. But yeah, but no, good winners that beat me.
Yeah, okay. Do you remember anybody specifically?
Don't want to, no.
No, okay. Before we cross over to the Hilton to speak to Kerry Pollock, our reporter who's there at the launch of the nominees for the PFA. The Scottish Football Writers also have their awards ceremony a week later on the 8th of May in Glasgow. They've released this morning the nominees for the Manager of the Year. And I don't think there's too many surprises in all the categories, Richard. Malky Mackay for the job he's done at Ross County, Dick Campbell, Steve Clarke, Ange Postecoglou and Robbie Neilson.
No, you can't argue with the names on there. I think there's 2 for me that stand out, in Dick Campbell and Robbie Neilson. I think from where Hearts came from last year, being promoted, I think there was a talk of Hearts fans a bit uncomfortable with Robbie Neilson's style of play and the way they won the championship, even though they won it at a relative canter. But this year they've been magnificent, and I think to finish 3rd in the league, and the kind of overhaul he's had of the squad. Fantastic achievement. Similarly, Dick Campbell, Arbroath to go to the penultimate game, but still a chance to win the league was fantastic, and they yet could get promoted via the playoffs. Obviously, I'm hoping that doesn't happen, but I think he's done a fantastic job as well.
Yeah, I mean, you look at some of the other candidates. No surprise. Over the last week or so, Malky Mackay has been linked with a number of jobs. I spoke to Roy McGregor, who said his biggest fear is losing his manager in the summer because people will appreciate the job that he's done.
No, he's done a brilliant job at Ross County. I think they were favourites to get relegated. So to get them in the top 6, and as we said, there's still a little period of the season to go. So you might push them into Europe. You never know, so it could all change. Ange Postecoglou as well, could win the double. So listen, there's a lot of guys in there. Robbie Neilson could win the double. Finish 3rd and win the Scottish Cup. So listen, there's a lot of time. So it's difficult to pick one just now, but probably Dick Campbell for me just at the minute, just because of a part-time team, finishing 2nd. I think he's worked wonders for Arbroath. So I think at the minute him, but they could all change in the next month. Yeah,
you mentioned there that a lot of people tipped maybe a Ross County for the drop. Only Ruffy, to be honest with you. Only Ruffy.
That was just personal.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with football.
I'm looking at thinking to myself, who tipped them? No, they've been fantastic, Ruffy, because I think even Roy appreciates the fact that they've got a manager way above what they normally could entice.
Yeah, I think everybody thought they'd be down there at the end of the season, but they weren't.
No, they didn't. It was you.
Well, a lot of people had them in a playoff. I had them relegated, but a lot of people were hovering about that. But no, they've had a fantastic run. You can't take it away from them, and we're big Malky fans, so. Yep. Can you explain to me this one, the Manager of the Year one? Who votes for that at the players?
All the journalists.
No, that's the sports writers one.
Yeah, this is the
the sports writers one. Yep. Yeah. Well, I would go for Dick.
Would you?
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's incredible.
Right at the minute.
Wow, that's an interesting one. What about yourself on this one, Richard?
Again, I think I would. I mentioned Dick and Robbie. I think probably Robbie, just in the terms of how big the transformation's been. You know, the promoted team coming up. I know Hearts are a huge club, but I think he's done a fantastic job. I'm always, you know, Ange Postecoglou as well has done a fantastic job, but he's at Celtic. They're expected to win leagues and win cups. So.
Were they expected to win it this season?
Well, probably not, no, but still, has he done, you know, he doesn't have budget restrictions like Dick Campbell does, or I suppose neither does Robbie Neilson to a certain extent. But yeah, I think I would just to be different from the lads, I'd probably go for Robbie Neilson at the moment.
Yeah, and just to obviously play the devil's advocate in this, are you surprised that, I mean, there are flaws in the voting system, we all know that, because of the timing of certain things, and you can't wait right down to the wire for tournaments to be decided before you start picking them. You've got to kind of try and get that overall picture. I mean, it's all to do. It's all to do.
I can't believe the Rangers managers know that.
Well, I was just about to say that.
Europa Cup,
but again, the football writers are looking at what you're doing over the course of a season in the league. You know, so you know it's domestic football really that kind of a lot of people are swayed if you get. I mean, can you imagine Giovanni Van Bronckhorst? They win the Scottish Cup and they win the Europa League. He's manager of the year in everybody's head, isn't he?
But yeah, if you're Van Bronckhorst and you win those two things, I don't think to be honest, I don't think he cares about if he's not being nominated. You know,
but I think this is overall what you do in the league that I think is that.
If Dick Campbell gets Arbroath promoted, a part-time team, the biggest story in.
I'm swayed by you and Dick Campbell. Steve Clarke, I think, is there because he's galvanised the nation.
Yeah, Steve Clarke. Yeah, but in the other sense, it's the budget thing that confuses me. You know, what do you take into consideration? You know, because everybody is different.
Yeah.
They're dealing with different players as well, different quality of players. So that's why I went for Dick Campbell. Yes, Stevie Clarke has, you know, galvanised the country. There's no doubt about that with the results what we've got. But again, unfortunately, we're giving it out and we're not really qualified for anything.
Steve Clarke's budget at Scotland.
Well, he's not got a budget, but he's thinking.
Oh, good. We're all over him today, aren't we?
It was so easy.
It's fantastic.
But we haven't qualified.
You're going for Dick Campbell.
I'm going for Dick Campbell.
I'm going to go for Dick Campbell as well.
Dick for me.
What about you?
I think it will be him, but I just think, just to be a bit different, I'll say Robbie Neilson.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. I don't mind you being different. That's why we brought you here.
My opinion is not to be trusted, as you can tell from my t-shirt.
That's another reason why we brought you here. Oh yes, I never actually noticed that, by the way. I had a great line there, but I'm not going for it. Anyway, apart from anything else, before we head over to the Hilton to hear from our reporter Kerry Pollock, who's been out there garnering the opinion of all the nominees in each division, the PFA released their Team of the Year, Ruffy, which is an interesting 11 when you consider the season. It's dominated by Celtic players, but Craig Gordon in goal. You've got Cameron Carter-Vickers, James Tavernier, Josip Juranovic, John Suter, Callum McGregor, Regan Charles Cook, Tom Rogic, Alfredo Morelos, Jota and Kyogo.
Rogic would be the one, you know, the consistency level. He's a quality player, there's no doubt about that. I've not had time to think about who's jumped ahead of, you know, that maybe the guys will throw some names up, but...
is there anybody screaming out at you that's missing?
No, not at the moment, no. Not at the moment.
Because I mean, you can discount Aberdeen. You don't even need to think
discount Aberdeen, you can discount Hibs, Motherwell, Ross County's got one in it.
There's one name for me that's...
Livingston.
There's one name for me, Stephen Kingsley.
Oh yeah, it's not a bad shout.
Instead of
Juranovic, maybe?
That's what I'm thinking, Juranovic, but Juranovic has been excellent this season, but I think Kingsley's been absolutely outstanding.
Better than Juranovic?
Well, again, it's a different one because...
He's not playing as good a team, is he, really?
Yeah, exactly.
No, but is he as good a player? Overall,
is as good a season? Yes, for me.
Yeah, okay. What about you, Richard?
I agree with Tam. I think he's you know, defensively he's been very, very sound, and he always pops up with an absolute worldie or two during the course of a season. And I think in terms of importance, he's been every bit as important he's probably been more important for Hearts than Juranovic has been for Celtic.
Yeah, okay. Let's find out about the Player of the Year nominees in all the divisions, and let's not forget that the Women's Young Player and Player will also be incorporated in the gala affair which takes place at the Hilton on Sunday night. So it's going to be, I think, a momentous occasion. Certainly looking forward to a situation where the men and women get a chance to celebrate the season and all the efforts that they've put in, and pay tribute to one person in particular who steps up to the plate as the ultimate player or young player of the year. So with that in mind, Kerry's out there. Kerry, you've been speaking to more than a few people who are hoping they're picking up the award on Sunday night.
Thanks, Peter. Yes, a lot of impressive performances so far this season, but as always, the nominees for Player of the Year have been nominated down to just 4. This year's nominees for Player of the Year for the 2021-22 season include Celtic captain Callum McGregor, who has taken his new role as leader of the Celtic side in his stride; SPFL top goal scorer Ross County's Regan Cook; Hearts captain and goalkeeper Craig Gordon, who has kept 13 clean sheets this season in the league; and Celtic veteran Australian international Tom Rogic. A fierce lineup this year, and the winner will be announced on Sunday night. The Celtic captain told us how he's enjoying his new role as captain at the club and how his season is going so far with just 4 games to go.
Scott was an outstanding captain for the club, really successful in terms of what he delivered for the club in trophies and big matches as well. So, like you said, big shoes to fill, but I've got to make my own way. I can't just copy Scott or try and emulate that. And you understand that you learn for these guys and how they operate, but you have to put your own spin on it and my own personality and bring that to the job as well.
Ross County's Regan Cook, who in just 33 appearances has scored 13 goals for his side. He spoke about the success that Ross County have had so far and the possibility of European football.
I think it means the world to, we want to give back. As players, we want to give back, and the chairman especially, the amount the chairman puts into this club and things you don't see the chairman does, Roy McGregor, it's just we want to do this for him and the manager and all the fans, all the fans because every away game is so far for Ross County. It's 2 hours, 3 hours away travelling, and they come and support every week, and they come with their banners, Grenadian banners and banners, all sorts. And we just want to give back to them, something to celebrate, something to go into next year thinking we're a European club, so that would mean the world.
Now in his 10th season at Celtic, Tom Rogic has been involved in a lot of important moments for the club, and he's enjoying working under his new manager.
Obviously I worked with him for 4 or 5 years in the national team and knew him well enough, better than any of the other boys anyway. But working with him kind of day to day and experiencing those challenges and the challenge to be the best you can be each and every day, and the intensity of working under him has been something I've enjoyed. And
the first ever Women's Player of the Year and Young Women's Player of the Year will be inducted, so not just a Montemenial night for the nominees or the winner of those awards, but for the whole of women's football. The nominees for Women's Player of the Year include Charlie Wellings from Celtic, who signed for the club in July 2021, and by mid-October she'd scored 11 goals in 10 games. Also from Celtic, Jacinta Galabadarache, the 20-year-old from Australia, joined Celtic in the summer window last year from West Ham. Lizzie Arnott has also been nominated for Women's Player of the Year. She signed for Rangers last season, scoring 16 goals in 21 appearances. And Priscilla Chinchilla, who will be with Glasgow City until 2023. She's been outstanding for the side so far this season, who currently sit second in the SWPL table. And the nominees for Young Women's Player of the Year, Celtic's Jacinta Galabadarache and Priscilla Chinchilla, have been nominated for Young Women's Player as well as Women's Player of the Year. Maria McInerney from Hearts and Bailey Hutchison from Aberdeen are also amongst the nominees. Also on Sunday, this season's award for Young Player of the Year could go to either Celtic's Leil Abada, who has scored 10 goals for his side this season. It could go to Josh Doig from Hibernian, who had made 28 appearances for the Edinburgh side. Calvin Ramsey, who at just the age of 18 has been part of the Aberdeen squad for 28 games, or it could go to his teammate Connor Barron from Aberdeen. There is also a lot of good candidates for Manager of the season, and we'll find out more about that tomorrow. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks to Kerry. So we now know the nominees. Player of the Year nominee in the Premiership, Ruffy, you've got that kind of a glazed look in your face, but I'll go back over them all and give you some of the give you some of the stats just to help you out. Callum McGregor, Regan Cook, Tom Rogic, and Craig Gordon, 4 worthy candidates. Again, we always like to mention people. Maybe there's a Kingsley that should have been nominated, but this is the player's choice, Richard. So there's no real debate. They've played against each other, and they've looked at all the things that come into it. You're playing against them, you've watched the contribution elsewhere in other games, you make your choice.
Yeah, and I think, again, I'm the same as Ruffy. Tom Rogic for me is on his game, he's different class, he's really good to watch, he's very graceful. But I think it has to be Regan Cook. I think to be the top goal scorer in the league, when you're going up against the likes of Morelos, Kyogo, Giacomakis, I know they've had injury problems, but I just think when you're playing for Ross County and you're currently the top goal scorer, I know that could change in the coming weeks, but I think it's got to be him so far.
Well, interestingly enough, we've gone early on it. I think it's Craig Gordon, just basically because some of his saves have been outrageous. This is a guy who people thought was just going to wind down his career at Hearts. Celtic blundered big time for me in letting him go. And I think he's the best goalkeeper in the league by some distance.
Yeah, I just don't like giving goalkeepers player of the year. I just don't like goalkeepers, to be honest with you. So apart from
Well, join him as well. That's what he thinks as well.
I'm not a big goalkeeper fan.
I'm going for Craig Gordon.
Yeah, no,
I think
that's the first time for years.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going
Convinced you.
to. I want to go for Craig Gordon, but I'm not going. I'm going to go for Callum McGregor.
Just out of curiosity, you don't want to go for Craig Gordon?
It's not to do with Hearts. I think he's been brilliant.
No,
he's been brilliant for
not
Hearts.
tribalism?
No, nothing to do with that. I'm not a big fan of goalies. I'm not a big fan of goalkeepers getting
I know
player
you
of the
might
year.
not be a big fan of goalkeepers, but for God's sake, man, he's played.
He's been brilliant. He's been absolutely brilliant. He's been the best goalkeeper in the league, right? But I'm going to get Callum McGregor just because I like an outfield player to get player of the year.
Yeah, and you think Callum McGregor is, head and shoulders above the Regan, Charles Cook, the Tom Rogic?
I don't think head and shoulders. I think, Fozzie's got a point there about Regan and Charles Cook. 13 goals, brilliant for Ross County. But I just think Callum McGregor's been absolutely outstanding. Every game I've seen for Celtic, he's been a driving force for that team. And so I would say Callum McGregor, but I wouldn't surprise me if Craig Gordon got it. Anybody
missing there that you surprised the players maybe would have thought about that maybe was just outside the four?
Tavernier.
Yeah.
And possibly Kingsley. Tavernier and Kingsley. For me, defenders, scoring goals, clean sheets. So those two. Rogic, as the boy said there, brilliant on his game. Has he been consistent enough over the whole course of the season?
Yeah.
He's been excellent against Rangers in a few games. But
when you talk about players playing against him, midfielders will hate to play against Rogic. So, and that's obviously what you base your vote on, isn't it? The guys who've been similarly McGregor. I mean, McGregor's the best player in Scotland this season, without a doubt, I think. But I just think when someone like Regan Charles Cook is top goal scorer, I think you give it to him.
Yeah. The funny thing about it here is, I take your point, Richard. When you look at the team of the year, Ruffy, all the other people who are in the team of the year who potentially could be contenders for player of the year, the one thing that's really kind of thwarted their chances has been injury, apart from, Cameron Carter-Vickers and James Tavernier have been really, really solid. Carter-Vickers has been superb for Celtic. Tavernier, for me, is whether it's dispatching penalties or his assists, have been superb. Suter, injuries have dogged it. Morelos, injuries. Kyogo, injuries.
Yeah, I mean, I would swap Tavernier with Rogic. I think he's been outstanding all year. I think Rogic's been in and out. There's no doubt he's a quality player and he's got fantastic skills. But be Tavernier for me. Apart from that, I agree with all the other ones. But unfortunately, I don't know if it's changed for my day, but it depends when the voting comes. When the voting slips come into the dressing room, I don't know if Richard's
pretty early, isn't it?
They have the same kind of.
It's been about a month ago.
When you're voting, do you have the same kind of banter in the dressing room when you're all going, "Who do you think, guys? What do you?" And the old guys all talk about it.
It's different this year. It was all done kind of via like an app. You have to kind of sign
that might
so
be
you've done it on your own.
yeah.
You never done it. Because I must say there is sometimes you sit in the dressing room, right? Who can I put left back? Right, okay. You just copy somebody else, or they'll come up with a better name than you had there. But
that's the point I'm making.
But
I think Charles Cook, it was November, December that he was flying and magnificent, and then it's January, February, and then the
top goal scorer.
I know, but in your mind, it's at that moment. Well, I'm saying it might change, and everybody's different how you vote, but somebody's flying in goals.
But football players do tend to have the same level of intelligence from back in your day.
Well, one thing.
No, in my day. No, we're not voting him. No way.
Well, I was going to say that, Ruffy. I love that argument because quite simply, tribalism still exists. I mean, even when I'm badgering you about it all, but there. In Ruffy's day, there was that element of people going off, there's no way I'm voting for a Celtic or a Rangers player or whatever, a Rangers player saying, I'm no way I'm voting for a Celtic player. That element still is retained to
I would say so. And there was also players that you came up against that you maybe didn't like.
Yes.
You know, you're voting for somebody, maybe they're running boom on.
That must be why nobody ever votes for me.
That's the same with me.
Minor technicality, but probably the main one. Yeah.
So there is that as well. You've had a running with somebody and maybe he's good and you go, I'm not picking him.
You look at that and you say to yourself, well, surely the case would be Scott Brown would never win it, but Scott Brown won it, and players actually look and think, well, you know, you've got to look overall. I think some players can look overall and say, okay, you have your run in with him, but you can see what he actually brought to the team and the type of player he was, and it wasn't all about the noise up. So sometimes players can look beyond, you know, their dislike for a certain player. Some can't, and that's human nature. But I think I've gone Craig Gordon. You, Craig Gordon?
I've gone Craig Gordon.
You're
Callum McGregor.
And you're Regan Charles Cook. Not really a strong punditry line to deliver on a programme. I just don't like goalkeepers, but I feel a song coming on with it. But nevertheless, apart from Ruffy, is he the only goalkeeper you like?
Ruffy's my favourite.
Right, okay then. Do you know what? Because you've been famed for rank rotten goalkeepers at Hibs, I can't even remember the goalkeeper who was in goals when you were there. Who was it?
Got a few. Nick Colgan, he wasn't bad.
Nick Colgan's alright.
Daniel Anderson, Swedish boy. We had Zibby Malkowski.
Yep, two forgettable names there right away. Go on.
Big boy played in the final.
Oh, the big heavy boy. You didn't play with him.
Tony
No, I know, but what was that?
What?
I still can't get my head around
Tony
that.
Cake.
Is that his name?
Is that for the guy coming in and was unbelievable in the semi-final?
Yeah.
Kind of blonde-haired
boy.
He's about 22 stone.
Yeah.
Oh, I never played with him. Conrad Logan.
Aye.
No, I never played with him.
He never played. He's
No.
well before him. You've named about 3 players there that I'm thinking. I would never have thought of them. Anyway, what about the young players, Ruffy? This is look at your face scrunching up here. No wonder, because it's such a tough section. There's no one screaming out at you. And I'll tell you, there's an interesting debate here. But the young players: Calvin Ramsey, Connor Barron, Josh Doig, and Lille Abada. Now, of the 4 players that have been nominated, I'm looking and I'm saying to myself, I don't understand how those 2 Aberdeen players can get in there. I think it's more hype than the reality.
I think there's only one winner.
Yeah, so for me, there is a name that stands out, and it's got to be Abada with his goals, performances. But I think both Ramsey and Barron are very good players. I think Barron's obviously only came in latterly.
Yeah.
Ramsey's kind of been disrupted by injury, but again, I understand what you say. I think very good going forward. Ramsey, he needs a bit more experience beside him defensively, but when you've had the season that Aberdeen have had, it's very unusual for them to have players in the player of the year.
I'm gobsmacked. I mean, no harm to the boy.
Josh Doig is similarly at Hibs, you know.
Started the season.
Are there no younger players at Ross County, at Motherwell, you know, the top 6 teams, Dundee United for instance, they've got a lot of young players, but they've got no one in the
I am surprised, but no harm to the boys. Listen, if the players vote because they see something in them, but over the course of a season, I would not have. And I think Ramsey at times, who may well move in the summer, Ruffy, but I think at times, you know, it's one of those overhyped situations that managers say, you know, oh, he's fantastic, he's going to be worth millions, you know. The classic case here, and I'm a big fan of him, is Nathan Patterson. I mean, he kicked the ball for 20 games. He's not even getting a sniff of top team football in a very poor Everton side.
No, I think the boy for Aberdeen's been talked up as well. I can't remember any game that I saw, you know, that he's been absolutely a world there. He's won the game or whatever. That's surprising, and I'll probably get this horribly wrong.
Oh no!
Oh, here it comes.
The boy for St Mirren, the young boy, is it Ronan?
Connor
Irish
Ronan.
boy.
Yeah.
I don't know what
I think
age
he's
he is.
23.
Well, his age, obviously.
So
if
that
he'd
rules
been of
him
age,
out.
I'd have had him in it.
Yeah, but he's not.
No.
So, Abada?
Yeah, Abada for me. I think of those, just the goals he scored, was it 15 goals it says there? And I just...
20 years of age.
20 years of age, and I think he's one of those wide players that always gets himself in scoring positions. You see a lot of time that wide players kind of hang out edge of the box, out wide, but when the ball's on the other side, he gets himself right into the middle of the goal, and that's why he scores so many. And I think he's done really well this season.
He had a touch for the second goal on Saturday at the Celtic game.
From the throw.
You know, for the throw, and a touch that not a lot of people could have done that.
Yeah.
He's got ability.
Yeah, absolutely. Sam?
Abada, by a mile.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who gets the nod on that one. We will find out on Sunday. Really looking forward to it, Ruffy. It's always a right good night. It's a good night if you've got good company at the table and there's a real team spirit and camaraderie.
Yeah. But I class it as if you've got a table of 10 and there's 5 people don't drink at it. I think that's always a bonus. If we've got Hugh McDonald and that, you know.
Yeah, so basically, yeah. The other thing about it is, I don't know if you remember the old Air Canada advert where it says, it's so good you won't want to get off. But there'll be a feeling of our tables where everybody's partying, and then Richard will be at a table and you'll just be looking over going, I wish I was at their table.
Especially after getting beat 5-0 at the weekend and losing at that playoff spot by goal difference.
If that happens, I'll not be able to see as far as your table.
I know, that's another point, I know. Nevertheless, it should be a great night. I always enjoy it, Ruffy, because the players like a bit of banter.
Yes.
They want to come up and have a laugh. They want to, obviously, I think, be shown the respect of what they've achieved in the season, but they like a good caning and a noise up, don't they?
Yeah, I have to say that, you're the king of that. You know, whoever comes up on that stage, there will be people there hoping they don't win, because they're going to get slaughtered. But no, there's been some funny moments.
There's also people that sit on their table and don't say anything to anyone and still get slaughtered, roughly.
Do they?
Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
Well, it depends how near your table it is.
And there's also some wives who open the envelope and call out the wrong name. You know, calm your jets, will you?
My favourite has to be the boy for Airdrie, boy Russell.
Oh, he was, what's his fuck?
Alan
Russell.
Oh,
that was fantastic.
Handsome.
What was the question you asked again? Where's your table?
Well,
The boys are over there. And
the boys are over there, and I said to him, you've played well. He's fired in some amount of goals for Airdrie. And I said, you must pay tribute to your team. You know, your teammates and that have helped you along the way to the goals, right? And honestly, if a pause and silence spoke 1,000 words, it was Alan Russell giving it. It's got nothing to do with the team. It's all about me. I scored those goals. I'm working with these duds. It was the funniest moment ever. Although Michael Higdon's great. I mean, Higgy was absolutely plastered before he even got to the stage.
End up in the jail.
And he's, well, of course, because he bought Ruffy and I a drink. But what happened was, he was so bladdered as he's looking at, in his Scouse accent, he's saying to him, I'm not coming up on that stage. I said, you've won Player of the Year. And he's going, I'm not coming up. He says, because you're going to slaughter me. And I went, come on. All his family were there, which was...
Who's the boy that came up in the fancy suit? There was a guy came up once in a suit and he absolutely slaughtered him. I can't remember who it was, but he was quite smart actually. But just
there's been the worst of all, and you know, hopefully we'll see him on Sunday again. But the worst of all has to be Gordon Strachan. I mean, Gordon Strachan. Oh, God, it was like putting your thumb in a vice grip. He made the interview excruciatingly painful because him and I had been at loggerheads in the press conferences constantly with me and Davy Provan, and he just made my life a misery for a 5-minute interview.
You flapping?
Oh, no, do you want me to tell you something? I was like, please end, because he was just agony. Every answer was like, you know, that wee nip at you, you know. But no, there's been some really, really great people who've come up on the stage, some no longer with us. I do like the Roll of Honour, Ruffy, because it's quite emotional when you see some of the class acts that have won the Player of the Year award.
Yeah, it's amazing. Obviously, if you're at the game and for a long, long time, it's always be remembered, and they've got it right every year. I don't think you could complain with any of the guys who've come up for it.
Yeah, I mean, superb. Some great players down through the years that have picked up the award. Special night. Who's your Player of the Year? Who's your Young Player of the Year? You can let us know. As far as the championship, well, this is going to be an interesting one because Kilmarnock have obviously won the championship. I've got Kyle Lafferty in there. They've got Michael McKenna from Arbroath, Scott Tiffany from Partick, and Thomas O'Brien from Arbroath as well. So it's an interesting mix. Can Kyle Lafferty seriously be considered on the basis that it's 14 games and 8 goals?
Possibly. He's probably won them a league. Well, a big saying them win the league. You know, I think before he came in, and Derek McInnes, I didn't fancy them to win the league, to be honest. I thought they're toiling. And he's come in, he's gave them a huge lift. But your guys like the boy McKenna, who's maybe scored 10 or 12 goals, he's been played all season, 30, 40 games. So I'd probably give it to McKenna. I think Lafferty's been great for Kilmarnock, but I'm looking at the names there, and listen, I don't watch the Championship every week, Richard probably knows more than me, but I think in terms of goal return for a part-time team, a team that was up there, I'd give it to Michael McKenna.
Ruffy?
I'm biased, I'd get it Tiff.
Yeah.
But on his performance at the weekend there, I might take it away from him.
Yeah, I was going to say. has he done enough?
Yeah,
has he done enough to actually
it excites me. He's the kind of guy, and if he's wide, and you're just sitting there going, game it. Just game it and see what he does. And that's the kind of player I like seeing. The boy McKenna's been magnificent for midfield. You can't take it away from him. And the centre half.
Yeah.
He's been superb. But Tiff is the one who gets me off my seat.
Interestingly, O'Brien has voted for Player of the Year. He didn't make Championship Team of the Year.
Yeah.
Talk me through that.
I know, it's just a crazy situation you get yourself into, the way that I have not got an insight into how they collate all the votes, but you know, it can happen, and it has happened on a number of occasions as well. Just with that in mind, who gets your vote then? You going Tiff?
Yeah.
I would love to give it to Tiff, but I just think for his numbers, his goals and his assists, I think it's got to be Michael McKenna. I mean, O'Brien was fantastic, even the other night against Lafford. I never gave him a sniff, but I think over the course of the season, probably McKenna. Yeah.
Has Tiff done enough in your mind? If he excites you, do you get the feeling that you're going to struggle to hold on to him?
Yeah, we probably will. You know, again, it's the can he get back up into the Premiership? Can he handle it? And we don't know.
He's almost an old-fashioned winger. He just wants to get the ball down and take people on. You don't. There's no many like him. I think he can go back higher. Yeah. Hopefully not next season, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. League One nominees.
Excuse me, could you? What? The Championship team.
I haven't got that yet.
You not got?
No. But I'll get it for you shortly.
No, I just
why do you want to know how many players are there?
One at most.
I would think 5. Maybe.
What? You kidding me?
4 at most.
What, you can't? There'll never be 4.
4.
There's no chance
you
of 4.
You want to bet me 4?
If there's 4 in it, I'll be gobsmacked. I've got the list somewhere, but if there's 4 in it,
I'll go 4.
Is there 4?
You already seen it, Ruffy?
4.
He's already seen it, look.
Ah, right, okay.
He's so snide, isn't he?
How can you put 4 players in the Team of the Year and they've blown the title? I mean, do you remember that? Do you remember that period when those two were sitting there with their, that pompous look on their face, Tom?
Yeah, well,
you remember?
2 games in hand, we win them, we'll go 2 points clear.
Yeah. We entertain.
Oh,
the players are in
promoted team.
Yeah.
Look, favourites to finish 4th in the league. That's a good achievement for us.
Yeah. I would have pushed for 5. I'd have put Jamie Snedden in it, and I'm biased again.
And I'll tell you another
Hasn't he had a great season?
Sned has been great.
Do you know what's good about you guys? Your catchphrase this year. You know what your catchphrase is? What's the catchphrase? We battered them. We battered them and lost 4-0. Good. Anyway, League One nominees: Dylan Easton from Airdrie, and then it's just Cove. It's Harry Milne, Mitchell Megginson, and Rory McAllister. Now, if Rory wins it, I mean, as I said to you before, he's won it on 3 occasions before. First year on his own, a wee shy boy. Second year, brought his family. Started to have a few bevies. Third year brought his girlfriend. Fourth year decided not to bring any of them. Absolutely plastered with his mates. Got up on the stage and sang a song. I mean, he was just bananas,
Yeah, but he's got a chance. But I think Megginson will win it. I think Megginson's been the top man for them, isn't he? The captain. He scored the winner. He won the league at the weekend, which was great.
And I'll be amazed if nobody from Kelty wins this. I'll be gobsmacked. League Two, Jamie Burjonis, Joe Cardo, Michael Tidser, and Owen Moxon is the only non-Kelty player from Annan.
Joe Cardo for me.
Yeah.
I'm the same, Joe Cardo.
I've not seen a lot of Kelty, but Joe Cardo.
Yeah, okay. Oh, there you are. That sums it up brilliantly. I've got to say, deserving of a special mention, and it's not something that we get a chance to see on a regular basis. There's the odd little clip that you get sent of the women's game, the Women's Player of the Year nominees: Charlie Wellings from Celtic, Jacinta Galabadarachi from Celtic, Lizzie Arnott from Rangers, Priscilla Chinchilla from Glasgow City. Amazingly, 14 on the trot, and they haven't won the league this season. It's incredible, Glasgow City. The times are changing, I feel, in the top flight. And then the young player, Bailey Hutchison, Jacinta Galabadarachi again is in there, Maria McInerney and Priscilla Chinchilla. So they're the young player categories as well. They deserve special mention. I'm really looking forward to the fact that they are now under that umbrella of the PFA as well, Ruffy.
Yeah, and I saw another bit, obviously, that we're now getting near the professionalism. You know, I think there's team moving on now and they're seriously talking about maybe semi-professional. I think that's the way it's going. It just shows you how much the women's football's progressed, you know, club level and international level. So, no, they're really 100% into it, and they work really, really hard. We know our team as well, that they're so dedicated in everything they do. So, no, well done to them all, and it's always progression in football.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, thanks to everyone and Kerry for putting in a hard shift there at the Hilton for the nominees for the Player of the Year. It takes place on Sunday at the Hilton in Glasgow, and then a week later at the Doubletree Hilton in Glasgow. It'll be the football writers who'll be handing out their awards. There's always this great banter between the journos and the PFA about which is the more prestigious affair, which is the most entertaining. Listen, it's great that the players are celebrated for their achievements during the year, and it's nice when somebody picks up the award. It means something, I think, still to players to get an award, Richard.
Yeah, I think because you know the PFA is because it's voted by your fellow peers, as you say. That's what you want in football. You want to be respected by those you play against in the team. But then in saying that, you know, when the journalists are, you know, they're watching games and they're giving you awards, they do mean something to most players, and most players who win them are kind of very thankful normally of their teams as well to get them there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it does still mean something. It's always always a good night out. It's always a good laugh, as you say, and I think it is important to kind of celebrate the players at the end of the season.
Okay, let's turn to European matters. Europa League semi-finals, Leipzig Rangers, and of course in the other match, West Ham against Eintracht Frankfurt. Leipzig 1-3 for the game tomorrow at home. The draw's 4-1. Jersey can get with most of the bookies at 8-1 to win over in Germany. So it's a big game for them. This is, you know, I would say the toughest test, tougher than Dortmund and the scalps of Red Star Belgrade and Braga.
No, well, we all sat here at the Borussia and discussed that and said it's going to be a really hard night for Rangers, and look what they did. You know, so I think Rangers have come up with the goods on the road, particularly. I mean, Hugh is obviously our German expert. He's over there all the time. He's saying Leipzig beat Borussia twice, I think, this season. So I think Rangers always step up, and I expect the big players to step up. I expect Callum McGregor to step up and do what he does. The goal scoring thing is obviously, we're down to the third striker now. That's a big problem. I don't know what he's going to do there, but I think if they can come away from there with maybe 1-0 at the second leg with that support behind them, I think they've got a chance. I think it all depends in this game. I don't think they can afford a 2 or a 3.
Yeah.
You know, 1-0 or a draw would be brilliant. So we'll just have to wait.
That's the key element of this. No Roof, no Morelos, no Ramsey.
It won't be a Rangers win. I don't see Rangers getting a win over there. I think they'll be very fortunate to get a draw. I think Leipzig I know they're points wise are behind Dortmund in the league, but I just think over the course of the last couple of months they've been one of the form teams in Germany, and I think it's a big ask for Rangers to go there particularly without Morelos, give you that out ball up front. So I think it'll be 3-1 to Leipzig, and I think the tie could be all but done for coming back to Ibrox.
It's an interesting one, you know, because just over 2,000 Rangers fans will be able to go and watch them in this away leg. 40,000 Leipzig fans will be making a hell of a noise. I don't think it'll matter a jot really to the Rangers players, because the evidence is there for all to see, the scalps that they've taken along the way.
Yeah, I mean, they can play in front of crowds, they can play in front of hostile atmospheres away from home in Europe. I think the biggest issue is, can they score the goals? I know they've been excellent before, against Dortmund, but Morelos and Kent were probably the top of their game. Led the line really well, Morelos, and they don't have that. They don't have anything like him, and they will need to kind of alter the way they play, which has been working so well for them because they're so good in the counter attack. Now, I don't know if it'll be Sakala that comes in. Not sure if he's travelled, but he's got the pace to threaten him behind, but does he have the kind of the nous of Morelos or Roof to pick up those spaces? I'm not too sure, and I think I'm I hate to say it because they're a Scottish club, but I'm kind of siding with Tam and thinking it'll be a comfortable victory for Leipzig, because I don't think Rangers will pose them much of a threat.
Yeah, I mean, with that,
few of the 3 each game.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's the other thing about it. But with that in mind, you're in a situation where here's a predicted 11. that we are looking at here. McGregor, Tavernier, Golson, Bassey, Barisic, Lundstrom, Aribo, Jack, Wright, Sakala, Kent. If anything, if that changes, it's because somebody is just not 100% fit, Tam.
Yeah, listen, I think the back four, the midfield pretty solid. You know, just come back to what Richard's saying there, that front line, you know, it's not as strong as it could be for Rangers. You know, you having to drop Aribo back into the middle of the park because Ramsey's no fit. So I think maybe Rangers will score maybe one, but I think Leipzig will be too strong for them. They score a lot of goals at home as well. They've got a great home record. You know, let's not forget they were unlucky being a Champions League group with PSG and Man City, and I think they beat Man City. So they're a top side, and I think it'll be a difficult night for Rangers.
Yeah, we've looked at the predicted team you've talked about. I think obviously McGregor's going to come straight back in. He's so vital in this tournament. And as Richard mentioned, Sakala, the middle of the park. I don't think that's any worry. That's Ramsey's, whether he plays or not. I don't think that makes one iota of a difference. He's a good player that he is, but I don't think his contribution since he signed has been that dramatic that people are thinking, oh, this is a body blow.
Mm-hmm. No, I would agree with that, but I think you'd still want him in the team. You know, I think you still want the presence there. You know, and what the quality he's got. You know, and he's had more games under it, and I just think it's all about possession. They're going to have a lot of possession, so it's how they defend. And the boys at the back have defended particularly well, and so has Alan McGregor. So I'm just hoping it's one of the nights that they all can get a wee rub of the green here and there, maybe a wee penalty somewhere, something like that. Maybe an order, no.
Penalty for Rangers, what?
Doesn't it work by VAR? Doesn't it work as well abroad?
VAR, yeah. VAR will be a big player for Rangers as well in this competition.
See a left midfielder. Anyway, listen, the one element of this, I agree with you. I think Rangers have got to try and get out of this with a minimum one. If it's one goal in it, I think Rangers have got a real chance at Ibrox. If it's two, I think they're up against it. But you look at the form of late. If you'd say to anybody over this month, by the way, okay, you're going to see off Braga, but you're looking at winning against St Mirren, winning against Braga at home to knock them out of the tournament, defeating Celtic to get to the Scottish Cup final, and then 10 men against Motherwell, winning 3-1. I mean,
they're in decent form, Rangers. They're grinding out results, but you're just wondering when all these games are going to catch up with them. You know, there's a lot of high intensity games. Going into a game away to Germany, then you're going into another Old Firm game, then you're going into the return leg. You know, it's a lot of high intensity football, and they're starting to pick up injuries now to key players, and you know, it's just if they can maintain it. You know, as I said, if they can just keep it to one goal, then I think they've got every chance at Ibrox. But I just think they're bang up against it over there.
Ruffy?
Yeah, I'd probably 1-0, but even better than that, 1 each. So 1-0.
Okay, West Ham, real chance to get to the final. Davy Moyes.
Yeah, it'd be great, West Ham and Rangers. You know, I think that would be, and I hope people don't start saying, "Oh, Battle of Britain" and all that stuff that goes on with it.
Yeah.
I think Moyes deserves, you know, a big day, you know, after he's went through in his career, and I'm sure if he does get there, it'll shut some people up that didn't rate him at all at a particular club.
Yeah, absolutely. But you can say Man United.
I'm sure the payoff package he got was a bit of a softener right enough.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think he was hard done by. To be honest with you, West Ham for me, I think can knock Frankfurt.
Yeah, I think so. I think I seen Derek Ray tweeting that if Frankfurt win the Europa League and finish outside the European places in the Bundesliga, Germany will have 8 teams in Europe next season. So that would, I suppose, that's something for them to go for. But I think West Ham will do it. I think that West Ham will get to the final.
Yeah.
West Ham, Leipzig, I think.
Just shows you the changing face of European football and how imbalanced it is. It is not good for all the other countries, especially our own, battling away to try and get somebody into the base group stage of any European tournament. Just before that, and it's probably our last chance to speak to you on this, Richard, John Beaton's been named for the Celtic Rangers match on Sunday. And it's a big game. Rangers will have to come off the back of whatever happens on Thursday night. And this is it last chance, Lynn?
What are you saying, like about 65, 70 minutes penalty Rangers? Or Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm just saying.
Right,
no, I mean it's Celtic Rangers. It's six.
Of course it is.
It's
of course
6
it is.
points.
Rangers have to win. Have to win if they any aspirations to win the league.
On about John, don't start that argument here. I can see the feed now. Want to kill me.
Yeah, if they've got any aspirations of winning the league, which of course they do, they need to put pressure on Celtic, but they need to claw back some points and they need to win on Sunday.
Yeah, win or bust.
It's win or bust. Yeah.
Can you see them do it?
I don't think so. I think it'll be a score draw.
Yeah. Okay, Ruffy.
Yeah, I think it'll be a score draw as well. I think the game on Thursday will have a big say in how they perform.
Celtic win.
Okay, and of course, let's not forget St Johnstone against St Mirren is huge. We mentioned last week, last chance saloon for Charlie and the boys. The good news is that quite a lot of people have sent me texts and
Went down
emails.
fighting, didn't he, Charlie?
Well, I was going to say, if it all goes pear-shaped and his contract's not renewed at Dundee, apparently he's opening a swimming pool. so it's an embarrassment, isn't it? Honestly, we've leathered him in Monday. I mean, it's bad, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's.
Do you think you should come on and apologise on the show?
Yeah, why not?
Tam's called for a 4-game ban. He's not even thinking about friendship.
Just to be cited for the SFA.
It was a shocking dive, and I'm pretty sure he probably regrets it now. But yeah, it's actually quite.
He doesn't regret it. He was texting us saying, "Oh, I've got 2.5 million views," wasn't he? He doesn't text.
Yeah. I don't feel any remorse whatsoever, to be honest with you. But nevertheless,
it was a cracker. But yeah, that game is huge. I think St Johnstone will win and drag St Mirren back into it.
Yeah. You think Aberdeen are out of it?
It's a huge game. They need to get something.
If they win, if they beat Dundee,
it's done. But if Dundee beat them, then they're right in the mire.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, I wouldn't like to be in the town of Aberdeen. In fact, the city of Aberdeen. I don't think we could. If they lose to Dundee at the weekend, I don't think we can have Andrew Shiny on. He'll need to get into some kind of therapy.
Give him flip-flops and shorts. No laces.
Yeah, just go out to the North Sea. Anyway, apart from that, great to chat to the guys. And of course, you have all the nominees in front of you. Tell us your player of the year, your young player of the year. We'd love to know who's your manager of the year. That detail for the PFA Awards will come out certainly over the next few days as well. Anyway, from Ruffy, Richard and myself, and of course Tam McManus, thank you very much to you for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and we'll see you tomorrow.